David Savage, a.k.a. Diz, and this is The Force Always.
Okay, so welcome to the show. Yes, it's Christmas approaching. That's the lights in the background. But let's get into the Star Wars news. Stick around to later on in the show. I've got a review of Mandalorian Chapter 5, The Gunslinger. That's a bit later on in the show, so stick around for that. But let's get on to the regular Star Wars news. It's 11 days-ish, and I say ish, to Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. 11 days-ish. It's probably a little bit more than that in some places, but ish. It's very important that you take on ish because it's coming. Anyway, so check that one out. To more news, the world premiere for Star Wars, which will be amongst the news agents, the advertisers, the cast, the crew, special guests. It will be in Los Angeles somewhere. Nothing has been disclosed about exactly where to the people who have been not invited, but it's going to be on December 16, the world premiere. That's only a couple of days before it comes out officially in America, which is December 20, technically December 19 night there, but and for Australia, it's going to be December 18 night. December 19 technically is the date, but yeah, the world premiere is December 16, so hold your hats for that one. To more news, The Mandalorian in Chapter 7, which will be the week of just before the Star Wars comes out, is actually being pushed to a Wednesday release. It's usually been coming out Friday, that's here and in America, so that will be pushed back to a Wednesday release, Chapter 7, and we're all thinking something is going to be secrecy involved in that episode to get you excited, maybe partially or massively, for episode 9. So check that episode out. Episode out in that particular week. That's Chapter 7. That's a couple of days before the actual public release, and so that's so that's the news for that part. To more news, if you have a Twitter account, check out Richard E. Grant. He plays a Grand Admiral or something like this, but his name's Pride in Episode 9. He's one of the cast there, the new cast for Episode 9. He's playing an evil guy, can you believe it? But he took to Twitter, and he's not a big Star Wars fan. He's only partial, but he really took to emotion. The cast and crew have actually seen the episode, just is a quiet sort of little showing viewing to the pure cast and crew, and he was very emotional about it. So he cheered, he laughed, he cried, he thought it was fantastic. But check that out if you can. Richard E. Grant on Twitter. It's no spoilers, so he gave no spoilers. He just really carried his emotion to it, and I thought it was probably, if it was for real or fake, one of the best pieces of advertising to get you enticed for Episode 9. Anyway, check that one out. So that's pretty much the news for this time around. Let's get into views. Views is not about one gets for YouTube channel and how many views they get, or it's not predictions, it's just my story ideas. It could be with the poster, it could be with a trailer, it could be with the actual saga itself, but this time around will be about what inclusion from the past I would like to see in Episode 9 that would make sense. Because we're sort of getting a big vibe of the Emperor coming back and the crashed Death Star that we've been seeing in the trailer, I think it would make sense to have the Ewoks. Now, love them or hate them, when I was a kid, thought they were great. I think Return of the Jedi is my favourite of the particular original trilogy. Strangely enough, I think A New Hope is a perfect 10 out of 10. I think Return of the Jedi is a 9 out of 10, even though that's my favourite. Just sort of works out to be that way. But I do think Ewoks would make a great sort of, even if it's just a cameo of some sort, or sort of collaboration and trying to bring down the evil once again, I think it would be great. It would be interesting to see how they do the Ewoks this time around. I'm sure there will be a practical with sort of CGI element involved, but the Ewoks, would make a great comeback and would be a sort of quite a greatly kept secret, as nothing has been let out the bag for this one. Sort of similar to the Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian, nothing got out with that one, so the security is pretty tight. Anyway, so that's what I would like to see happen. It's no prediction. I think including the Ewoks in the collaboration of trying to bring evil down once and for all, the collaboration of other things as well would make sense for this particular episode. As JJ has said, as the Skywalker saga is coming to a close, this is a great inclusion to have a big finale with one of the good guys taking down the bad guys, which is Ewoks. Even though Ewoks eat people, they're still good people, or animals, or bears, whatever you like to call them. Anyway, that's my views for this time around. Let's get into reviews. Reviews is of Chapter 5 of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. The Mandalorian. It's called The Gunslinger. It was directed by Dave Filoni. He's a fan favorite. He's brought us the Clone Wars, also Rebels animation. He's done now. This is his second episode with The Mandalorian. This particular episode, I thought, really felt like Star Wars. Yes, it was sort of played into areas that we're familiar with, like Tatooine, the Cantina Band, which was Cantina area, which was flawless in its design. We had speeder bikes in there, which is sort of played a bit in Revenge of the Sith, with Anakin on one of those, and obviously in Return of the Jedi. I thought this episode felt like a Star Wars episode. It, even though it had a lot of nostalgia, I thought it was just a bit slow paced, a bit too much walking from the Mandalorian again, walking around, whatever. But it definitely was an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed this one. It's probably my favourite episode, along with the second episode, chapter for The Mandalorian. It's leading up to some sort of finale, which is only 3 episodes away. Can you believe it's so short? But it's good. Just, it sits about 7 out of 10, my average for me. But anyway, that's what I think. Maybe, and the ending part, there was the ending part where there was a guy or some girl or something that was walking to the person who got assassinated or maybe injured, we don't know. And we just didn't get a look of the face. Look, it could be Darth Maul, it could be Obi-Wan Kenobi, it could be a new character, maybe for episode 9, could be somebody of that, it could be, we don't know, but it's interesting how they ended it off, giving us a bit of a thriller. So I sort of liked it. It would have been great if there was a bit more identity reveal with it, but it still was an enjoyable episode. 8 out of 10. I'm still enjoying The Mandalorian pretty good, but it's just a bit, I would say just good, a high good. I wouldn't say great, but high good. Anyway, that's my review for this time around. Let's get into interviews. It's 2Q, which is 2 questions I asked myself, you guys out there. First question, will The Mandalorian play into Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker? Technically, I don't know, but I think it would be a great opportunity if it did. Whatever link, whether it's a character or a story or something from the past in that period to Episode 9, it would be great. I'm wishing it's going to happen. The only thing I'm thinking is that I feel for the UK people, partly for the Australian and New Zealand people who had held on for 1 week that was, which is, not the end of the world, but it still was long enough. But the UK people, even though they've probably seen piracy versions of The Mandalorian and keeping up with that way, it really is a bit of a letdown if there is some sort of connection with The Mandalorian, the series, and Episode 9. But I'm wishing there will be something. It will be great. That's what I think. My second question is, at the end of Star Wars Episode 9, how should it end? Well, I'm not talking about the part of the story. I'm thinking they should surprise us all at the end of the credits or just before the credits, an invitation to what the future of Star Wars will be through an ad of some sort. I think it needs to sort of keep us wanting more, whether it's 3 or 5 years away or something like this, so we just don't let go completely. I think it would be a good marketing idea. It would be something to look forward to for the future. Not a to be continued sort of thing for the story of episode 9, but something that will say we're going to keep going on. I think, again, as I've said before, episode 10, if they get into that, should be in the year 2027. That will mark the 50th anniversary for Star Wars. The 10th episode, 10 and 50, iconic year, that's what I think. Even though we've had an announcement of 2022, 24 and 26, that's 2024, 2026, with some sort of episodic release, whatever that is, whether it's the past or the future, we don't know. But 2027 should be episode 10, and it will mark the 50th anniversary for Star Wars. That's what I think. Anyway, so that's pretty much the Star Wars news and views, reviews and interviews this week. Subscribe to the channel, The Force Always, only on YouTube. It's a weekly show, and we are fastly approaching Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. So stick around. You'll get a review from myself. You'll get a spoiler review, in a timely manner. And until next week, keep rocking.